It's been a while since I did a My Thoughts, a My Thoughts review. I don't fully recommend it, but I do want to review it nonetheless because I find it intriguing or interesting nonetheless. And this one's for you, Frank Bryant. You've been bugging me to review the stuff you sent me. I'm like, dude, one at a time. So, yes, this is one goes out to you. And there will be another one on the way. And this one is called After Being Rejected, I Shaved and Took in a High School Runaway. I swear, these titles are so stupid, man. I swear, like, there's no need for these complicated titles. You could really just said, I took in a high school runaway or something. That's all you have to do. Or you could have said, I shaved. Seriously, I shaved. Think about it. The dude was rejected. So when he decided to shave, all of a sudden these interesting things started to happen to him. He took in a high school girl all of a sudden. Then all of a sudden other women start being attracted to him. All this drama is happening now around him, all because he shaved for the first time in a long time. He can be like, interesting. Maybe I should have done it in the first place because too much is happening. They could have done that. But no, they always gotta make it super, super long. And the reason why they do this is because there's an overabundance of stories, of novels, anime, and manga that are pretty much very similar or yet the same. So they need to make those long titles so they can try their best to stick out. But now that everyone's doing long titles, even that itself has become a giant sea of irrelevancy that's going nowhere right now. But yes, this one did pick up speed for certain reasons, and I did rewatch it for you. So I did watch it before, but I rewatched it again. And yeah, this one kind of like, I understand what happens in it, and it sucks. So this is what happens. There's this dude, an office worker, because of course he is. Seems like everyone who grows up in Japan just goes working at an office, and that is it. He got rejected by a girl and his coworkers. So one day he thought it was probably because of his beard, so he decided to shave it. And on his way home one day, he sees a high school girl by a lamp near his house, who is looking for a place to stay. He doesn't understand her situation, what's going on, but he allows her in anyways. And this is where the drama consumes. So what happened here is that she tries to offer herself towards him. So it turns out you find out that she's been going to different people's, mainly men's places, to sleep. And she would offer her services in order to live there. It's the only way she knew how. She had no money, she had nothing she could offer but that in her mind. So because of that, she's been going place to place, living around, trying to find a place to stay. The first time ever, she's living with a dude who's probably the oldest, as I think, who doesn't want that from her, but actually is concerned for her well-being. So now is these two finding a way to live. Him finding a way to live with more of an open heart and being a better person, as she is having more of a self-discovery and dealing with the trauma and the terrible things that she went through in her past. And it's very interesting. So you get other characters showing up, her friends, people she got into a life that kind of traumatized her, and even some coworkers that he'd had a feelings for, all of a sudden are interested in him now. It's like women are only interested in men when they have other women interested in them. For some reason, the other women start picking up on him, being different, being more kinder, more sincere, more open up. It attracts them. And because of that, now more girls are interested in him, and all of a sudden now want to date him. So in a way, you can't date a guy for who they are, but women expect the same way in return. Okay, that's kind of messed up, but whatever. Let's keep moving on. Now, the girl herself went through a lot of serious trauma. First of all, she had a friend, only one friend in high school. She also grew up in a family with big expectations and very distant and strict, mean parents, especially the mom. The mom is a total douchebag, by the way. And the only sanctuary she had was with her best friend at school, but her best friend was being severely bullied and singled out, to the point where this friend took her home life one day. And she felt sad and alone, and the mom acted like that she did not care whatsoever. And this kind of drove her mad. In a way, she had no one to look to, no one to comfort her anymore, and the only person that did is gone, and the mom showed no sympathy about it, so she ran away from home. This is where she started her journey going to different people's places and offering favors in order to live there until she meets this guy. And now she is here learning more about herself, appreciating herself, that there is things in life that's more precious and she should value for who she is. Because it's really hard to, especially when you live in that kind of environment. She wasn't raised in a poor environment, but even when you're raised in a nice, high-ranking, higher-class family environment, doesn't mean everything's peaches and cream. Sometimes you have some douchebags wherever you go, and those douchebags will attack you physically or they'll attack you verbally and mentally, and it causes you just like stare out of control. And that's what happened to her. She's the girl who found herself in a situation where she saw no light in her life, so therefore she ran away. But she didn't find any light until she met this dude one day. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but nonetheless, it's very good in a way, if you give it a try, because the situation is sad and you question what you do in that situation. A lot of people would say, no, I wouldn't, but then again, what would happen to the girl? Would you really send her home without the family resolving their stuff? Because sometimes it takes outside interference to deal with certain douchebags. There's so many times in this world where children and teens are in need of help and advice, or some type of middleman to come in to help moderate a conversation between conflicts. But sadly, so many people these days want to mind their own business because they're afraid of getting involved with these kind of situations, being labeled a certain type of thing. And believe it or not, people who knew this anime, but only from the outside, were calling the man some terrible things, which was not the case the entire time, or they even called the man a freaking groomer, for crying out loud. But like I said, that was not what's going on. He was just looking out for her own well-being until she found a place. Heck, I can relate to this, I didn't run away from home, but there were times where I was kicked out of home for things that were out of my control, things that I did not do, but it happened because of my certain situation. And it wasn't for people who took me in to be a moderator in the conversation for us to find, because I couldn't do it myself, because the person I was arguing with did not see me as an equal being, which is fair, but at the same time, because of that, there was a conflict that was happening that could not be resolved between just the two of us. There was no way we could talk things out, because one person always thought that they were always in the right, no matter what they did or say. So you needed someone that they saw an actual equal standing in order to come in to have that conversation, to build things down, There were times where I had friends that went through bad situations and I felt sorry for them. And I tried to open up to certain people about these things. And instead, they actually end up blaming the person that went through that terrible thing, even though it was not their fault. Like having a friend that went through a car accident one time and it was not her fault because she was by the red light and someone ran that red light and hit them. And the person in this conversation I had with blamed them, even though it wasn't their fault. And when I told them that wasn't their fault, instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, instead they threatened me, saying, oh, if you ever talk back to me like that again, it's like, what do you do in that situation? So sometimes I do watch shows like these, and they do hit personally sometimes. Now, I don't run away and sell myself off. I was kicked out, and luckily I had a lot of uncles and aunts I could live with in order to, put myself together and, feel better about myself, of who I am as a person. So yeah, a lot of crazy things, and you'll be surprised the person that you go to work with or school with might be going through these kind of situations right here, and you don't even know about it because it's hard to open up to these kind of things. You don't just want to trauma dump on someone one day. And when you do have a friend, you don't want to tell them about it because you're afraid that they might be too much for them and they might just run off or don't want to talk to you. That itself is also a possibility. So yeah, despite the name and the outside summary of this story, is actually a very good story. Asking you questions of what will you do in certain situations where not everything is black and white. not everyone is a good guy, not everyone is a bad guy. It's not that cut and dry, and you have to understand that. So yeah, I'm glad Frank Bryant told me to go review this. I did watch it before. Well, actually, I think I've read it before, but the manga was taking forever with the updates. But I did went to watch it, and yeah, I did like it. Now, the outro is what called people call a dude a groomer, but that's not the case. He had nothing to do with that situation at all. He didn't do anything. He told her to make her own decisions, live her own life. How is that grooming when he's literally telling that person to go out there, make their own decisions? He's not manipulating them or anything. He just wants the best for them, and they're the one who made the choice at the end of the day. I swear, people just use words for the sake of using words because they're trendy, and that is it. They don't care about the meaning or value. Whatever they don't understand, they'll just put a label on it and be done with it so they can justify themselves in their frustration towards something that they do not understand, which is completely stupid. But these are what we call no internal monologue people. They can't really have an inside monologue of what they're saying. They just blur out things, and that is it. So yeah, that does suck. But so yeah, I do recommend this. It is a required taste. It is not for everyone, but it is very interesting to watch. It's not something that I would go back to and rewatch because but it's something that I would watch once and be like, interesting. And I would recommend it to somebody else to watch so they would see their perspective on the situation and what they would have done and stuff like that and how they perceive the characters. So yeah, at Eye Shade, I recommend it. It's good. It's really good. It's not great, but it's good, and I'm glad it's out there. It's one of those animes that make you think. And it's nice to have those every now and then. You always don't need flashy action or fight scenes or extreme romance. Sometimes you just need to have a situation that's happening before you and see how would you do in that situation. So yeah, recommend anime. Good anime. I give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, definitely. So, anyways, that's what I got for this. I hope you're happy. The next one I will be reviewing is Jose, Tiger, and Fish. So, yeah, there you go. I hope you're happy, Frank. So, if you enjoyed the video, especially you, Frank, well, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has the background on anime. Signing out.